Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here in the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. Chris Halicke here. We're doing more of a X's and O's football 101 type video here today. We've done some player breakdowns this week, and now we're going to go more X's and O's stuff, especially as we get more and more into the summer. There's a lot of concepts to look at. This is another dropback passing concept we're going to go over today called levels. And levels is typically a half-field read. Remember when we went over the bow and shock video where we had shock on one side where we literally split the field in half, and we had shock on one side and we had bow on the other side. That's what levels is, but levels can also be kind of put together as one full field concept as well, and that's typically the way it's been done more traditionally. But typically nowadays you will also see like this type of thing where you have levels, and then you have maybe smash on this side. It could also be a curl and then flat on that side. Whatever you want to do, you have. You could do a half-field read, but we're going to look at this the traditional way levels was done, and it still is ran that way often in the NFL nowadays. Arthur Smith obviously does it. We're looking at the 2024 Steelers offense here, and this is a completed pass to Darnell Washington to the middle of the field. One of the rare times that we actually saw that last season, and it can still work. So, and you also see how it can stress certain defenses, how it can attack the middle of the field, even when the defense is in a middle field closed coverage like the Ravens are going to be here. 3 deep defenders, meaning that they're going to be into a cover 3 deep zones, and you can still find a way to attack that. So, levels. Like I said, typically a backside, but what you're going to have is at least on one side of the field, you're going to have like every single eligible receiver that's running a route on one side of the field is all running in breaking routes, but they're literally doing it on different levels, hence the name levels. So here we're going to have, you have Darnell Washington. I think that's Mike Williams right there. They are both running these in breaking routes. Williams gets to about the 30-yard line and then breaks. Darnell Washington gets to about the 35 and breaks. The ball is at the 43-yard line. So Darnell Washington is running this. Mike Williams is running this. Okay, so that is what would be levels. On this side, you have Ben Skoranek. He is running a deep route here. George Pickens is running a really quick out to the outside. That is more the traditional way levels was done, and based off of play diagrams that I've seen from older playbooks like 2000s, early 2010s, this was traditionally read one. I don't know why I wrote the one sideways like that. The read 1 to 2 to 3 with this as the alert, just in case the coverage dictated it. That was the way it was, again, based off of diagrams I've seen of plays from back in that day. Mike McCarthy, in particular, like those type of offenses, this is how they ran levels. Now, you can obviously see here that when Russell Wilson, he has to get a snap that kind of went to the right, but his initial read, you can kind of see right there is, okay, what's the safety doing? Did the safety, crash down into some sort of pseudo cover 2? Because Skoranek is running, a corner route here. So if the Ravens ended up going to some sort of cover 2 where they ended up with too high, the corner route there away from the safety could have been attractive, but, he probably sees that really quick. He checks the safety. He sees we got a deep safety, so we're at least in cover 1 or cover 3. Then he can read zone from there, especially whenever you see this guy pass off like that on Darnell Washington, which, again, knowing the way Russell Wilson operates, you can pretty much, okay, where's the deep ball? Where can I possibly throw the deep ball? Okay, that's not going to be there. Now let me go to the backside and see if I can hit this levels concept, which again would be here and then here, and you would be reading this just on this side, this first, this second. And so since he sees that first, he sees this guy pass him off. He also can see this guy just, and by the way, this is Malik Harrison, now new Steelers linebacker that was signed in place of Landon Roberts, and you see his inconsistencies in coverage here. He eventually gets his back to the quarterback completely. That's not good whatsoever. I don't know why he steps up here. There's no possible way. There's no selling of the run. There's no play action. He immediately just needs to get depth and get to this hook curl zone. And then whenever he goes to recover, he literally has his back to the play, has zero chance of making a play. Russell Wilson that's even easy for a guy like Russell Wilson, who does not usually want to throw to the middle of the field, but that's what this play calls for. This guy passes off thinking he's going to have help in man. He doesn't. Darnell Washington gets wide open. Easy completion. And, shoot, man. And again, this safety, because he's covering, the deep portion of the field, and he's got to see, okay, what is this guy running? Is he going to run some sort of post? What's this guy running? Is he going to run some sort of post? He has to respect that. He can't just step up and try to take that away, because what if this guy runs a post? That's the one of the great weaknesses of cover 3 is how this guy can get taken out of the play so much. And that's one of the things we talk about with the Steelers and their running cover 3, that if Minkah is this guy right here, if he steps up and tries to take that away, great, he can make that play. But then if this guy or this guy run a post, this is all wide open, because these receivers are going to have inside leverage if they run those routes. Outside leverage on him. Outside leverage on him. It's not going to work. So he has to stay there based off of the structure of cover 3, just in case. And what that does is it opens this entire window right to the middle of the field. And when you run a concept like levels, where you have liabilities as your hook curl defenders, you're going to get gashed, and you can get gashed. That's exactly what happens here, because the hook curl defenders are not in good position. This guy's okay. He at least, bumps Washington and passes him off, and then he starts to then get depth. But by this time, this guy's already out of it, and it doesn't matter. If he, instead of stepping up like that, if he just keeps getting depth and he just takes away this zone, Darnell Washington, imagine if he's not here, he's actually here. Russell Wilson doesn't throw that ball, and if he does, Harrison can then jump it and take it away, possibly even intercept it. That's not open. Then you're possibly looking to this backside in case this guy gets moved. And then if that's covered up, if this guy stays home, and while he's trying to run that, it's covered up. And then you got to try to check it down to the guy in the flat, whatever your outlet is. This could have been very, very well covered up. But the one good thing that this particular concept does, the levels concept does, is that it does force these guys in particular, it stresses them to make decisions based off of, the different levels that these routes literally are on. So this is bad coverage by the Ravens, but this is also a pretty consistent concept to have, at least on the backside, with other concepts. I do like seeing this more traditional look of levels, where you literally have this as, you have whatever kind of alert there, a quick out over here, and then you have, on this side, you have levels on that side. So I do like that for sure. But again, there are different ways that you can run it. But that is the levels concept. Pretty versatile. Obviously, it can be used against man coverage as well. If the Ravens were in a cover one here, where this is the one deep safety and this is just man coverage across the board, then you're just relying on your guy to beat him. So this is another one of those, well, it's better against man or it's better against zone. It's a pretty versatile one. Probably better against zone. A lot of these where you have multiple in-breaking routes or multiple routes that attack the middle of the field, whether it is something like levels. Here, let's clear the board where it's something like levels like that, like we've already talked about. Or if it's like mesh where you have this guy coming across and this guy coming across, even though that's particularly a man beater, it can be a zone beater as well, as we've previously talked about with mesh. So any routes where you have multiple, or any concepts where you have multiple routes going to the middle of the field, it can confuse zone coverages when executed well, and this is another one of those. So appreciate you tuning in. Really hope you enjoy these Chalk Talks. Please continue to give me feedback. Let me know if you like this kind of stuff. Again, we have a whole summer's worth of Chalk Talks to talk about, to go through, where we can dive more into rushing concepts. Right now I've been doing more passing concepts. We'll do more on the defensive side of the ball. We've done a couple of those. We'll do more on the defensive side of the ball as well. So love the feedback that you guys can give. So appreciate it. Catch you on the flippity flip. We'll see you later.